So, let's talk about waste. No, not that type of waste. Although this is part of waste, when we are talking about waste in Lean, we are talking about it in a totally different way. Lean focuses on the systematic identification and elimination of process waste in your business. In order to eliminate waste, also known as muda, we first need to understand which activities within the process are waste and which are of value to the customer. You might be surprised to hear that often no more than 10% of the entire process is of value to the customer. The remaining 90% adds very little customer-required value. Imagine you could remove all the waste from your process. This would reduce costs, increase capacity, and enable quicker delivery. Understanding the difference between value and waste in all business processes is fundamental to making improvements, serving both your customers and your business. Let's discover this in more detail now.
Firstly, we need to understand the difference between value and waste. Did you know that value and waste are defined by the customer? This is important because too often we are tempted to evaluate the process based on our own perception. We may consider quality checks as value-adding because we are protecting the customer from receiving a bad product. However, from a customer perspective, this is a wasteful activity. Mistakes simply should not happen. The Lean principle, called Voice of the Customer, VOC, describes capturing a customer's expectations, which can be used to separate value from waste. There are 3 types of process activities. 1. Value add. 2. Non-value add. And 3. Business value add. The non-value adding activities can be categorized into 8 different types of waste: waiting, overproduction, overprocessing, defects, motion, inventory, transport, and space. First, we need to understand who is our customer and what are their expectations in regards to quality, cost, and delivery. This is the voice of the customer. Now that we know our customers' expectations, let's look in more detail at the difference between value add and non-value add. Value-adding activities transform the product or service to what the customer expects and is willing to pay for. For example, if you order a pizza at a restaurant, you would expect to be served the correct order, hot and timely. These are all valued by the customer. Non-value-adding are activities perceived as unnecessary by the customer. In the example of the pizza, this could be a lack of or excessive topping, a cold pizza, or the wrong pizza being served. Such waste leads to inflated prices and customer dissatisfaction. We often speak of a third category called business value add. Business value add does not add value to the customer directly, but is necessary for the business to operate. In our pizzeria example, such activities would include the cleaning of the kitchen, improving safety in the workplace, and packaging. The objective is to reduce the costs of value add and business value add and eliminate wastes. Traditionally, cost reduction aims to reduce input costs, often at the detriment of quality, for example, by using lesser quality ingredients or less qualified staff. Lean businesses, however, achieve this through process waste elimination while maintaining customer value add, for example, by cutting out time wasters and therefore delivering the pizza quicker and as expected. To identify waste effectively, we need to understand the 8 different types of waste, which are waiting, overproduction, overprocessing, defects, motion, inventory, transport, and space. Waiting is the act of doing nothing, where we wait for a previous process or machine to finish, supplies to arrive, or decisions to be made. Overproduction is when we produce more than what is required. This often occurs when consumption is not linked to demand but instead to a forecast. Overprocessing is unnecessary activity where more value is added to a product or service than the customer actually requires, such as additional topping beyond the expectations of the customer. Defects occur when products or services deviate from what the customer requires, leading to costly rework, scrap, or complaints. Motion is the human movement that does not contribute to the value of the product or service, such as walking to get supplies or shifting of items. Inventory relates to the holding of excessive stock in any area of the process. Transport is the unnecessary movement of items from one location to another using equipment. Space is often underutilised due to excessive inventory, poor layout, and lack of organisation. The important thing to be aware of is that any waste will amplify all other wastes. For example, overproduction will increase waiting time, defects, motion, inventory, transport, and space utilisation.
Looking through these new lenses, you can see the world in a different way. You can now go and review your processes to identify the waste and strategically plan improvements. First, ensure you have identified the voice of the customer. Don't reduce costs at the detriment of quality. When making changes, always consider the impacts on the entire value stream. Remember to focus on the process and not the people. Waste is the result of a poor process that people have to work within. Engage the process experts and empower them to make contributions. So, now think where you could start to identify waste and make improvements. Remember, learning is doing.